My guest today, so, whenever you hear me talk about Hollywood and Graham talk about Hollywood or Jimmy talk about Hollywood or Dave Anthony, a lot of times we're talking about it in the neg, and we kind of focus on all the bullshit that goes on in Hollywood. And there's a lot of that. But you know what? In this industry, there's also some good going on, too. And my guest today is a comedian who also runs a management company. Now, full disclaimer for transparency's sake, I am on that. I'm on the roster of that management company. So, full disclaimer for transparency's sake, I am part of this guy's company. But he's also a comedian who is an activist who's been making TikTok videos of filming the police. He's been filming the police around LA, putting it on TikTok. And he also organized his own guerrilla-style protest at the mayor's house. And we're going to talk to him about it. Please welcome to the show, Dante Rasculi. Dante, what's up, buddy?
Hi, buddy. I'm good. So, yes, first of all, I'm glad you gave the full disclaimer. But while we're on that note, we couldn't be more happy to have you with our company. We love your talent and everything about you and your comedy. And thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it very much. So let's get right into what you're doing. I didn't tell everyone exactly what it is because I think it's really funny, and I want you to tell them. So what are you doing at the mayor's house?
Okay, so here's the backstory. I've been filming, like you said, the police for a very long time. Most of them here know me, and they're very annoyed by me. So what happened was I also own another company called Security for Civil Rights. And what we do is we will go around to different areas. Sorry, I'm in my yard. We'll go around to different areas where people are marching or whatever and just make sure that they're safe. We'll bring mace, we'll bring tasers, whatever. If let's say some anti-BLMers came at them, we will spray them. Or if the police come, maybe we'll stand in the front and say, you can't touch them, here's the law. So anyway, on Sunday, there were BLM protesters in front of the mayor's house, and the police said, you cannot use bullhorns in front of the mayor's house, which is a law. I think it's like a mandate or something. It's 5643 if anyone is a nerd and wants to look it up. So it's 5643. You can't use bullhorns to protest in front of the mayor's house. So what they did was they sent in police with riot gear, where there were 60 BLM protesters of every color that were being peaceful. I like to make that very clear because in most people's minds throughout the rest of the country, they think BLM protesters are looters. There is a giant difference between looting, rioting, and protesting. I saw looters and rioters near my neighborhood. They were people of all colors. I rarely saw black people, honestly, looting or rioting. The marches and protests are always peaceful until the police come. So what happened was they beat up these protesters on Sunday morning. So on Sunday, I read every law I could about bullhorns in Los Angeles. And I thought to myself, I'm going to go back to the mayor's house with a bullhorn and legally sing him Christmas music from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. every day. So I do. And I'm out there with my bullhorn and I'm like, jingle bells. I don't even know half the words. So I'm just like, do, 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 ba-do. My voice is all scratchy. This isn't even how I talk.
So why is it that singing Christmas songs are okay? Like, are you considered like a caroler? Is that how that works?
Yeah. Well, it couldn't be better timing. It's December. If I started singing these in the summer, they would say it's not Christmas. And I'd be like, well, I'm going to put on a concert. They like, you have a concert license. But to be a caroler, anyone can be a caroler between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. because of the noise laws. So I figured it out. That's it. People just have to arm themselves with their rights. Everything is right here. People ask me, they're like, hey, is this legal? I'm like, look it up. I don't know. I'm just going to look it up for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say at this point, as far as mayors that are in the spotlight, because I know, of course, neither one of us can account for every single mayor in this country, but as far as mayors that are in the national spotlight, Is it fair to say Eric Garcetti's the worst one? Do you think that's
for
fair?
sure. I can tell you a million reasons why and back it up. And I even ran for mayor in 2001, and it was pretty well known at the time. But I didn't do it because I wanted to become the mayor. I did it because at the time I was pretty well known as a comic, and I knew I'd get on television a lot. And so there were things like the Hollywood Highland had been half built for like 10 years. There was no carpool lane on the 405 where the 101 and that meets. And so I ran on those things and a few other things. Like we had prostitution everywhere. And so I came up with an idea of like, let's do loitering law where you can't be in the same place too long. And that got people off the street, blah, blah, blah. But because I was on television all the time, the new mayor implemented everything. I got everything I asked for. So yes, is he the worst mayor? I'll tell you why. Since he has been mayor, our city has improved in some ways, and it's also not improved, and you can back me up. There's something I call the green fence. If you drive around Hollywood, go down any block, you're going to see at least one green fence around a property. This green fence is where they take up old homes before they hit the 100-year mark, and they want to destroy it so that they can build some giant tall thing that sells lots more money. So what the mayor kind of did is he set it up to where when he came into place, I went, why are the homeless coming back into town? They were always in Skid Row. And then all of a sudden the property values went down, and then everyone was buying up homes, and then there's green fences around everything. And I was like, it's a trick. I get it. He's making property values go down. His friends are going to buy up all these properties, but no one's coming here, by the way. Even before COVID, no one was coming here. His sale pitch was probably, hey, in 2028 or whatever it is, we're getting the Olympics. So all these people are like, hey, let's buy up all this property. The mayor's our buddy. But I think what he's going to do to all of them is he's going to keep the homeless people there. No one's moving to LA. It's too expensive. I mean, even the places that are old have rent signs. There's like new places that no one's moved in. So my point is, when these guys realize that no one's moving into their buildings, the mayor and his buddies will come back and say, hey, man, I'm really sorry. We really thought that was, let me buy it up from you at like half price.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they're doing.
And then he'll get rid of the homeless people, and then the value will go back up.
Well, and the thing is, it's like stuff like that created the housing crisis in the first place. You know, the homeless population has expanded because people have been forced out of housing. There is no affordable housing, so they have nowhere to go. So it's basically a big circle, and it's a big scam like what you just described. And it's all about just just making a playground out of Los Angeles at the sacrifice of all the people who made it great.
Right. They forget that they're also all these rich people are moving here. They also forget that they have to have people working here, serving them at restaurants, and they can't live here. You know, they can't afford to live here. I'm not kidding. I live in Hollywood, and I'll tell you what's sad is I will walk around my block at night with my wife, and you see so many people sitting in their cars watching television on their phone, and you go, oh, they lived right there. That's their home. They go to the gym and shower and then put on their waitress or waiter uniform and go to work. But they live in a car.
They can't even do that now. They can't even go to the gym now, can they?
Right. I don't think they can. So where are they showering? Who knows? Maybe not at all. Who knows? I mean, I actually see people that look pretty normal that will be in like a parking lot and find some water thing, and they're like doing this. It's crazy. But let's go back to what else makes the mayor bad. Under him and our former DA, we just got rid of her, and I think a lot of that was my benefit. I'm glad
to see her go. A lot of us are glad to see her go.
Of course, I think I gave 1% to getting rid of her, but Jackie Lacey was a very deadly DA. There were over 600 murders during her reign of human beings by the police, and not one went to trial. Not one. She didn't do anything, not once out of 600. Everything was justified 600 times. That's very odd.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah, well, and the the new guy has some pretty good ideas. We'll see, how all these get implemented, but he has some, pretty decent ideas on how to start turning the tide here.
Yeah, I really hope so. I can't even pronounce his name yet.
Yeah, I can't either, but
it sounds like a French Canadian name or something. It's a cool name. I just can't say it.
Totally. And but the cash bail thing, I mean, there's definitely some, some good kind of seeds being laid here, but there's going to be some resistance from the powers that be. So we'll see what happens here.
But there's other good news in my district. There's mine's a pretty important district. It's District 4. It's Hollywood and part of the Valley, and we just got Nithya Raman.
Yes.
And she's great, and I already like her because she already said that she is against what the police did on Sunday out in front of the mayor's house. And David Rue, who was our guy for the past 4 years, never spoke up about it, never took a meeting with me. His office is literally 5 or 6 blocks from my home, and I called every day to try to make meetings, and they never took one with me.
People don't realize, and I talk about this on my show all the time, like just the importance and significance of acting locally, because it's like, and I've always said, I'm like, look, when you look at what Shama Zawant's been able to accomplish up in Seattle, and you think if every city council had a member like her, had a politician like her, this country would look different really quick in a good way. And now it's like, we have Nithya Raman. So, I mean, that tide is shifting, and that's a good thing. That was one of the things that was uplifting about the election. There were a couple propositions that didn't quite go the way I would have liked them to. So there was some bad stuff too. But Nithya Raman's victory was one of the good things. Let's talk about you for a little bit. So what made you decide to start using your TikTok the way you did? Kind of unpack that for people, like explain what you do. And how did that start catching on?
Okay, so truth is, I had just started TikTok. I have other platforms, obviously, but yeah, I started using TikTok, and I was just making stupid videos with like my daughter or whatever, however you do it. And I've been an activist my whole life. I just, I don't put it out there, but anyone who's known me long enough knows that, like when I was in college, I would do sit-ins and not eat for a while because, we were trying to free Nelson Mandela, and, and then I've always been a big LGBTQ supporter and black rights and whatever, it doesn't matter. I lost the question.
So TikTok. You
TikTok. Yeah. So here's how it happened. I'll be honest. So here's how TikTok honestly happened. I was sitting in this yard right here one day. I think my wife and I were about to film something with an ex-client of mine. It was pretty famous. And all of a sudden I heard a bunch of sirens and a helicopter right outside my door. So I ran out my gate, and there are 7 police cars and 2 helicopters. And this is, I would say, about day 7 of the protests. It's June 3rd, I believe. And there's some rioting and protests, but not that much. Things have really died down in my area, even though I'm in Hollywood. So I go out there and I see a young man who's about 17 with his hands above his head, and he's on his knees, and there's cops with 1 million guns drawn. And then all of a sudden more people get out, and it's a very nice like SUV, nice one. All of a sudden a grandpa gets out. He's like 80, white hair, can barely walk, and then 2 more grandkids in their 20s probably get out. They all get out. They all have to get on their knees. And finally, I realized they pulled them over for being black. And I said to the police, I was like, hey, why'd you pull them over? And they're like, we don't have to tell you. I'm like, well, you need to tell someone because I don't think you have a reason. And so because I started screaming, all my neighbors started coming out. Next thing you know, there's about 40 of us out there. And I'm just screaming at these police officers for like an hour, saying, let them go. He's an old man. If this was a white man and his grandkids, they wouldn't even have guns drawn, just getting on them for an hour. And
it's okay if you called them assholes, by the way. On this show,
I can say bad words.
Oh, you can say whatever you want on this show, yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. So anyway, I go out there and I scream at the police on video for over an hour. And when I come back, things changed in my life very quickly. First of all, I post the long version of the video on my Instagram, and it goes viral instantly. I shorten down a 1-minute thing and put it on my TikTok. Same thing happens. But before they go viral, a police officer / comedian who I've known for about 20 years called me up about 10 minutes after I posted it and said, and I hadn't spoken to him in at least 8 years, This was the scary part. Calls me up and goes, "Hey, Dante, do you still live at that house right at the corner of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, man, I love your house with all the beautiful signs." Cause I put signs out saying like Hollywood this way, you know, sort of like those Korean War signs. It's a Hollywood landmark.
Yeah,
But he
yeah.
goes, "Yeah, man, I always point out your house to all my cop buddies all the time. All the time."
Jesus.
Yeah, that's how he starts the conversation. And then he goes, "Hey, would you mind taking that video down? That I haven't spoken to him in 8 years. That's called
Oh my
intimidation."
God. Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
So I told him no, and I kept it up. And it now has millions and millions of views on every platform. And that's kind of what sparked me to just say, hey, I'll go film the police a few more times and see if this is a rare incident. And I can tell you that out of hundreds and hundreds of hours that I only have about 2 hours of police doing the right thing.
What were they doing
Meaning
when they were doing the right thing?
they had their masks on. They were pulling over people for the right reasons.
So like the bare minimum. They were doing like the
They were
bare
doing
minimum.
their job. Those
They
guys were doing their job. Everybody else wasn't. I have video from the other night that I haven't even put out yet where 2 nights ago, when the governor said we are all in lockdown, right, because of COVID, and the mayor has put out that alert that went out. Anyway, I see police near my house, so I pull over there. These assholes are parked blocking the whole street, right? Finally, they decide they'll pull up on the curb. Now they're parked on the sidewalk. Right in front of the sidewalk is actual legal parking. They could have parked there. They decided they're going to take up the sidewalk. Then I realized all 4 of them don't have masks on. And they're blocking a sidewalk with their bodies and a car. So I decide I'm going to put my phone right here and walk up to them and say, "Oh, excuse me, I'd like to get by, but all of you are not wearing masks." And they're like, "Oh, hi, Dante." And I was like, "Please stop calling me by name, man. That's intimidation." He's like, "It's your name, though." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you're letting everyone know that you know who I am. I get it. I get it." And I was like, "Dude, put a mask on, please." And he's like, yeah, we will." None of them did. None of them. I'm like, "Guys, I want to walk past you on this sidewalk." They're like, "Well, we're leaving." So they walked away without masks. But that's the kind of LAPD gang shit I deal with every night. The police were, I remember I had a video one time where I was just standing. They were literally halfway down a block, and I decided to stand on the sidewalk like this, just like holding my phone up, filming them. All of a sudden, this guy walks up, comes right up to me. He's like, "What are you doing, sir?" I was like, "Where's your mask?" And he's like, "Oh." And then he just walked back. But I was like, you can't ask someone why they're filming. I was like, you just walk away, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think people like me because I know the law. I'm not afraid to yell at the police. You know, this dude came up to me 2 days ago when I was doing the bullhorn. And he goes, "Sir, you can't use a bullhorn in front of the mayor's house." I'm like, "Yes, I can." He's like, "No, sir, you can't." And I was like, "I can." He's like, "You can't." I was like, "Sir, I'm singing the mayor Christmas carols, please." And he's like, "Okay, hold on. I'll call my supervisor." And so I was singing Christmas carols, if you watch the video. And I was like, "You can't get me for laws that aren't real." And then the guys, you see them walking back to their car in the video and driving off.
Nice. Well, thanks for doing what you're doing, man. And let everyone know where they can find out more about you and how they can follow you.
Okay, if you want to follow my like activism and stuff, it's Dante the Comic on all social media. You can also check out my stand-up there as well. But I'm more interested in promoting the people that are like Ron, people that I manage and my company, and that's Golden Artists Entertainment. We have so many great comedians for hire. We have so many great actors and writers and directors and so on, and lots of influencers and celebrities. Check out goldenartistsentertainment.com and hire these great comedians at your clubs and colleges and giant venues.
Dante, thanks for chatting it up, man, and doing what you do. I really appreciate it. It means a lot, and it's also nice to to show the audience that there's some folks in the industry doing some really great things too.
Well, now I've got to get back to work. It's like, even though I had my phone out there and would take like half-hour breaks every half hour to do work, I still have like so much to catch up on. So I'm gonna go do that right now, buddy.
All right, man. Peace. Be well.
Peace. Be well.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your